China, a land with a really old history and amazing inventions, is also where one of the world's oldest underground banking systems started. During the Tang dynasty, from 618 to 906 AD, people used fei qian, or flying money. This system helped collect taxes over long distances. It was the start of Chinese underground banking, or CUBS. Merchants got a note from the government for their taxes. They could exchange this note for coins elsewhere. This meant they didn't have to carry heavy coins. Fei qian worked because people trusted it. Merchants believed the government would honor the notes. This idea of guanxi, or social connections, is still key in CUBS today. Over time, this system evolved with the economy. What began as a government system became a secret network. The core idea of trust-based transactions remains. Fei qian's legacy still shapes finance in China today. Its influence is seen in the complex workings of Chinese underground banking. Imagine a world without bank transfers, credit cards, or online payments. That's the reality for many people and businesses using CUBS. CUBS works like a system of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours payments. Instead of using banks, they go to a trusted CUBS broker. The broker connects with a partner in another country. No actual money crosses borders. Transactions balance out within each country. This hidden system thrives on trust and necessity. The world of CUBS isn't without its difficulties. Working outside the control of traditional banks means finding clever ways to move money without attracting unwanted attention. Two common tricks used in this hidden economy are smurfing and mule accounts. Smurfing is like breaking down a big transaction into many small, less noticeable amounts. It's like financial camouflage. Instead of transferring, for example, $1 million all at once, CUBS operators might divide it into hundreds or even thousands of smaller transactions, each below the amount that would make banks suspicious. These smaller amounts are then put into different bank accounts, often belonging to people who don't even know their accounts are being used. This is where mule accounts come in. CUBS brokers often convince people, sometimes without them realizing, to be part of their financial operations. These people, often students or new immigrants, are lured with promises of easy money to let others use their bank accounts to receive and send funds. Without knowing, they become pawns in a much bigger game, their accounts used as temporary holding places for money flowing through the CUBS network. These techniques show the lengths to which CUBS operators go to stay anonymous and avoid getting caught. Smurfing and mule accounts are just two examples of the clever methods used in this shadowy world, where being clever and discreet is crucial for survival. While often linked to illegal activities, the reasons for using underground banking are much more complex and varied. For many, it's a lifeline, a way to manage the difficulties of international finance when traditional methods are either not available or too expensive. Remittances, the money sent back home by people working abroad, are a major reason for using CUBS. Migrant workers find CUBS to be a faster, cheaper, and less complicated option compared to regular money transfer services. The fees charged by CUBS brokers are often much lower, and the speed of transfer is much faster than conventional methods. Wealthy individuals and businesses also use this shadow banking system to get around China's strict rules on moving money out of the country. CUBS provides a secret way to bypass these restrictions, making it easier to invest in foreign real estate, businesses, and other assets. The reasons for using CUBS are as diverse as the people who rely on it. The influence of CUBS goes far beyond individual transactions. It's intertwined with the complex world of global trade, affecting the flow of goods and services across international borders. While CUBS can help with legitimate trade, its secretive nature also makes it vulnerable to being used for illegal purposes. One area where CUBS overlaps with global trade is in trade-based money laundering. This involves manipulating the price, quantity, or type of goods traded to hide the real nature of financial transactions. For example, an importer might inflate the price of goods they received, transferring more money than the actual worth of the goods. This extra money, laundered through the trade transaction, can then be mixed into the legitimate financial system. CUBS also plays a role in customs evasion. By undervaluing goods or misrepresenting what they are, importers can reduce the amount of customs duties and taxes they have to pay. This practice, often used for luxury goods and other high-tax items, distorts market prices and prevents governments from collecting much-needed revenue. The interconnectedness of global trade and finance makes it difficult to separate the impact of CUBs. While it can help with legitimate business transactions, its potential for misuse poses significant risks, enabling money laundering, tax evasion, and other financial crimes that weaken the integrity of the global trading system. The appeal of international real estate, especially in busy global cities, has attracted investors from all over the world. Chinese buyers in particular have become major players in the global property market, and underground banking has played a significant role in facilitating this investment flow. China's strict capital controls create an obstacle for citizens looking to invest in overseas property. CUBs provides a discreet way around these restrictions, allowing individuals to transfer funds abroad for real estate purchases. This has led to a surge in Chinese investment in property markets worldwide, particularly in popular destinations like London, New York, and Sydney. While this influx of capital can boost local economies and create jobs in the construction and real estate sectors, it has also raised concerns about affordability and housing bubbles. The increased demand fueled by CUBs-enabled investments can drive up property prices, making it difficult for local residents to buy their first home or even afford to stay in their current homes. The impact of CUBs on the global property market highlights the complex relationship between informal financial systems, government regulations, and global investment flows. While CUBs can facilitate investment and stimulate economic activity, its unregulated nature also raises concerns about market distortions and potential risks to financial stability. The secretive nature of CUBs, while attractive to those seeking discretion and efficiency, also makes it a tempting tool for illegal activities. Money laundering, the process of disguising the origins of illegally obtained funds, is a major concern associated with CUBs. The lack of transparency and oversight in CUBs transactions makes it difficult to trace where the money came from. This makes it an ideal channel for criminals trying to clean their dirty money, integrating it into the legitimate financial system without raising suspicion. Money laundered through CUBs can then be used to finance a range of criminal enterprises, from drug trafficking to human smuggling. While the link between CUBs and terrorist financing is less clear, the potential for its misuse cannot be ignored. The speed and anonymity of CUBs transactions make it an attractive option for moving funds across borders undetected, a key requirement for terrorist organizations seeking to finance their operations. The potential for CUBs to facilitate money laundering and potentially even terrorist financing poses a significant threat to global security and financial stability. Combating these threats requires international cooperation, enhanced regulatory oversight, and innovative approaches to penetrate the opaque world of underground banking. Regulating CUBs presents a unique set of challenges. Its deep roots in Chinese culture, built on centuries-old traditions of trust and personal networks, make it difficult to penetrate and dismantle. The reliance on guanxi, the intricate web of social connections and obligations, adds another layer of complexity to enforcement efforts. Traditional law enforcement tactics, often focused on individual actors and institutions, are less effective in tackling a system that thrives on informal networks and trust-based transactions. CUBs operates in the shadows, relying on word-of-mouth referrals and personal connections that are difficult to track and disrupt. Furthermore, the line between legitimate and illicit use of Chinese underground banking can be blurry. While some transactions might involve criminal activity, others might be driven by a need to bypass cumbersome regulations or access financial services unavailable through traditional channels. This duality makes it challenging to develop effective enforcement strategies that target illicit activities without stifling legitimate economic activity. Addressing the challenges posed by CUBs requires a multi-pronged approach that combines traditional law enforcement measures with innovative strategies that target the underlying networks and social dynamics that enable its existence. This includes fostering international cooperation, enhancing financial intelligence gathering, and developing targeted regulations that address the specific risks posed by cubs without unduly hindering legitimate economic activity. The global financial landscape is constantly changing, shaped by geopolitical shifts, technological advancements, and evolving regulatory frameworks. Cubs, adaptable and resilient, continues to navigate this evolving terrain, adapting its methods and reach to meet the demands of a changing world. The UK's departure from the European Union (Brexit) has had ripple effects on the financial industry, and Cubs is no exception. The UK has long been a hub for Cubs activity, particularly in facilitating Chinese investment in the UK property market. Brexit, with its potential to impact trade flows and financial regulations, could lead to shifts in Cubs operations. On the one hand, Brexit could lead to a decline in Cubs activity if it results in reduced Chinese investment in the UK or tighter financial regulations. On the other hand, it could also create new opportunities for Cubs operators if it leads to regulatory divergence between the UK and the EU, potentially creating loopholes that can be exploited. Looking ahead, the future of Cubs will depend on a complex interplay of factors, including the effectiveness of regulatory measures, the evolution of technology, and the dynamics of the global economy. As long as there are individuals and businesses seeking to move money discreetly and efficiently, Cubs, in some form or another, is likely to persist, adapting to the ever-changing contours of the global financial system.